let's talk about money because it's pretty important. This channel is not a personal finance channel. This has just been a hyperfixation of mine for the past few months, and I just turned 30, so now I can make one of those like how to budget in your 20s videos. So here we go. Basically, the point of this video is to say that zero-based budgeting is not for everyone. You do not have to do it the zero-based budgeting way. There's another way. It's called reverse budgeting, which seems like a weird term for it, to be honest with you, but that's what it's called, and I'm gonna walk you through my system. So this is the system for budgeting that I figured out how to do by myself in my early 20s after I had overdrafted my bank account getting McDonald's oatmeal. Not once, but twice. This had happened twice in the same week. And after the first time, I was like, cool, okay, lesson learned. I'll just move some money from my checking account or from my savings account to my checking account. Everything will be fine. Let's not worry about it. And then that same week, I did it again because the McDonald's oatmeal is pretty good. I enjoyed it, and it was like on the way to work. That doesn't matter. But the second time I overdrafted, I was like, okay, something needs to change because clearly I don't have enough money to buy like a $3 oatmeal. Something's wrong. So this is the system I figured out by myself after that happened. To do this, you need just a spreadsheet. You can use my free template for this in the description, or you can just start your own spreadsheet. It's not fancy. It just adds and subtracts. So yes, you need a spreadsheet. No, this is not a complicated system you have to check every single week or every single day, okay? The first step is to figure out how to log into your bank accounts if you don't know how to do that. I had some problems with fraud in the past on my bank account, and so my username was like a really weird complex username I could not remember. So it took me a second to figure out how to log into my bank account. Figure out how to do that for any place you're spending money from. You should also know how to log in for any place that you're keeping money together, but for this exercise, you just need the spending accounts. Debit card, credit cards, those are the things we're looking for this. And the first step is you're gonna look through the past month of transactions on those cards. If you haven't done this before, or it's been a really long time since you've done this, it's gonna feel really emotional and difficult. It felt really difficult for me. I had a lot of shame about my spending when I looked into my bank account the first time. It felt like I'm 21, 22, I don't remember how old I was, but like I'm in my 20s, I'm full adult. Why don't I have this handled? Like I felt a lot of shame about it. Just know that that's part of this process. Having these feelings are perfectly natural and normal, first of all, and they're not a reason to not do it, okay? You just need to support yourself through it. So like get yourself some tea, get yourself a coffee, whatever you need to do to make this a little bit more palatable, a little bit more fun for you. Just, you need to do this part, okay? And now I'm gonna tell you what we're actually doing. Get yourself something cool, fun, and cozy, sit in front of your bank account, pull up the spreadsheet, and what you're gonna do is look through your statement. You're not writing down every single thing you purchased. You're just gonna write down the recurring transactions. So like subscriptions, rent, utilities, everything on auto pay especially, you need to write down. And then once you're done looking at your debit card, you're gonna look at all the credit cards you're currently spending on for the specific recurring transactions. This is the basis of your budget right now. Don't worry about everything else. I know that sounds weird because all of the budgeting advice to get started on YouTube is like, write down every single transaction you've ever had. Don't worry about anything else. Just worry about the recurring things you pay every single month. Don't worry about discretionary categories like going out to the movies or anything else. Just like subscriptions and bills, okay? That's the thing. Once you've gone through the last month for recurring subscriptions and stuff, next, you want to find the yearly subscriptions. If you have those, you may not, but it's worth checking because if you're not like in control of your spending, you could have signed up for something yearly and forgot about it. So you should look into that. Like most streaming services have a yearly option now. Spotify does. You could have like a yearly like delete me thing. We're not talking about canceling subscriptions right now. We're just talking about recording what's coming up. So if you have a yearly subscription, that's going to be charged to your account. you want to put it still in your list that you've just made of recurring transactions, but you want to divide it by 12. The spreadsheet is on a monthly scale. You want to convert the yearly subscriptions into a monthly scale. So you need to divide it by 12, whatever the cost is, and put it in there. And if you don't have yearly subscriptions, don't worry about it, but it might be worth checking because, again, if you're not in control of your spending, and there's no shame in that, I've been there, you may not remember that you have them. Next step, find your take-home pay for the month. So for most people who have 9-to-5s, this is gonna still be in your bank account, whichever bank account you get direct deposits to. For a lot of people, you get paid more than once a month, so you're gonna have to total up however much you get paid every month. If you get paid every other week, there's gonna be some months with an extra paycheck. We're not worrying about that right now. We're talking about the average month where you get paid twice. The easiest way to do this is go to your bank account, find your last direct deposit and multiply that by 2. If for some reason you have an interesting income situation that's not just like a strict 9-to-5, that happens, people do that, then just total up like your average normal amount or your past last month, whatever. We just need a sense of how much you make in a month. So whatever that number is, find it and put it in the spreadsheet in the spot that I have laid out for it in the template. Okay, now we're at this point where we have all of the bills, recurring bills, listed out in the spreadsheet, and your income is also listed. We want to total all of your recurring monthly bills, subscriptions, everything. The template I have set up will do this automatically for you. It's super easy to do it in a spreadsheet. Otherwise, you just go to the cell, hit equals, type sum, and then you select the cells you need. Once you have that sum of that monthly expense in my template, it's going to automatically pop it over under your income and do some math for you. But if you're not using my template, you just want to take that monthly, however much you're spending on your recurring stuff, and subtract it from your income for the month. Okay, that's the next step. This is the reverse budgeting part of the process. Instead of setting up all of your categories ahead of time, you're just looking at what you're currently spending and using that as your template. This is the magical part. It doesn't seem magical because it's just numbers, but this is the magical part. So you're gonna subtract, take your income, write down your expense total for the month under it, subtract, and whatever is left over is free money for you to do whatever you want with. If you don't have any money left over and this number is negative, you're in trouble. You need to think about canceling subscriptions and getting control of your spending, because we're not even talking about discretionary spending right now. We're talking about like recurring charges coming to your account. Yes, that it probably includes Netflix and stuff. We're not even talking about going out to the movies or other fun things you can do, going to a coffee shop. So if you don't have any money left over, if it's 0 right now or negative, you might want to think about canceling some stuff if you can, so that you have more money to play with. When I did this, I was making $30K a year and I still had money left over. I just wasn't tracking it or staying on top of it properly at this point. So I was just like spending willy-nilly, not thinking about it. I thankfully did have money left over, but I did cancel some subscriptions through this process when I did it, because I realized I wasn't really using Hulu at that point. So if you do have money left over, which should be most of you watching this video, I really, really hope not everybody is in the red right now, because that's just not fun to deal with. So if you do have money left over, there's other places in my template that are going to become useful for you. There's a part where you can decide how much you're putting in savings each month. It's recommended to have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of savings, 3 to 6 months of expenses. I know that sounds really, really astronomical right now, but guess what? You've already totaled up your current recurring expenses. So you can just take that monthly total and multiply it by however many months you want to have saved, and that's your goal. So there's the savings line. You can set aside however much a month you want to put to savings. You can decide to save up for a full emergency fund, or you could like decide to focus on what I did when I was moving the last time is I subtracted my new goal rent from my current rent because I was in a studio and I wanted to upgrade, and used that leftover amount, I think it was like $400, as like put it in savings for moving expenses and stuff. And that's how I was able to move without having to go into debt. And that was really cool, like really revelatory for me, because I had moved many times before that and I always had to borrow the money for the security deposit. So it was a really awesome feeling that I didn't have to do that. Like I could just pull it from savings. So whatever savings goal you have set up, you have a space in my template to write down however much you want to put in savings a month. And this includes investing too. But if you have credit card debt, you should work on paying that down first, primarily, but that's not the point of this video. Once you've decided how much you want to put in savings a month, go back to your bank account and set up an automatic transfer every month. It could be on the 1st, 30th, 15th, whatever. It could be multiple transactions based on when you get paid. It doesn't matter, just you don't want to have to think about it. So go and do that. And then, so you have in this column your income minus your recurring expenses minus your savings for the month. Whatever's left over is free money for you to spend on whatever you want. Have fun, go to the movies, go to the coffee shop, do whatever you want to do with this money. Buy clothes, buy music, whatever you want. That's your free money to do whatever you want to do. Okay? If you really want to make this process simple and automatic, you can set up a separate checking account that automatically deposits from your employer this free money amount, so you don't even have to do math or think about it throughout the month. If you can't set up a separate checking account, or you don't want to get a separate debit card with a separate bank, there's apps like Pennies that are really, really good for tracking this. Then you'll just have to enter when you spend your free money at any point. And it's definitely worth it to do this. It might seem like a lot to do it when you haven't done this before, but remember, you don't want to overdraft on McDonald's oatmeal. Okay, so it's completely worth it to do this, and this way you're like more in control of what's happening. After I had set this up, for me personally, I felt way less overwhelmed about money. I was like, okay, I know what's possible with my current salary, and you can do this if you're making really little. I set this up when I was making 30K. Hey, so the next couple clips have some weird distracting background noise in the back, so I'm just gonna talk over what I said in them this way instead so that you can actually hear me. So now that you've set up your budget, this is not a set it and forget it situation. You don't have to check in with it every single day or anything, but you do want to maintain this. So you might want to check in every month or when you get paid, just to make sure everything is updated with subscriptions you've canceled or stuff you've added or anything like that. And you also may want to adjust your savings goal as things change with your life. I know I just talked about automating things, but that's just so you don't have to think about it every single day, and you can only check in with it periodically as you can. So the automation is really, really important, but you still want to check in with your budget to make decisions every month or every paycheck or whatever cadence works for you. At least a month I'm going to recommend for you to check it in with. Now I'm going to hand it back to past me recording this, but just know that the camera's gonna do some weird zoom things. I'm still figuring out how to not have that happen. And all of those updates are in service of knowing how much free money you have available to spend on whatever you want. So it should actually be fun to update this, because then you can be like, oh, I canceled that thing. Let's go update the budget so that way I know how much extra money I have available for fun stuff or for savings or for paying down credit cards or whatever. This is really just about having your life in your hands instead of just like, I don't even know how to sign into my bank account. I don't understand how I overdrafted so many times. I don't get it. I'm not shaming you if you're there. I've been there. It sucks. I hated it. And that's why I did this. So I hope this system is helpful for you if you're getting started or it's been a while since you've actually sat down with your bank account and your money. And I really hope this helps like take some of the overwhelm away and some of the stress away, and so you know what's happening. I hope what you take away from this video is that you can stay on top of your money even if you're not making much, and you are in control of what's going on in your bank account, and This way, if you're keeping on top of it, you can notice like, hey, you charged me, bank, some things that you weren't supposed to charge me, and you can call them and get your money back. It can sometimes feel overwhelming, but it is possible. Take a few minutes, watch this video again if you have to. Go to the description right now, get my free budgeting template that's on Google Sheets, and get your life in order. You can do this. I believe in you. So that's all I have about this. This channel is normally actually about storytelling and analyzing what works and what doesn't, and talking about my writing process for a novel that I'm currently working on. It's science fiction about these group of people who had alien DNA experimented on them, and they're getting back at the company that did that to them. And I usually break down stories in different mediums and what worked and what didn't. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and subscribe. I may talk about personal finance in the future because it has been one of my hyperfixations recently, and I do like watching like YNAB budgeting with me videos, but it's not what the majority of this channel is going to be about. So if you're interested in storytelling and analyzing stories, go ahead and subscribe and do whatever you need to do there. I'll see you around next time, maybe. Okay, bye. Once you've decided how much you want to put to savings a month, go back to your bank account and set up an automatic transaction.